This is episode 149 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Nic DeAngelo. Nic is the president of Saint Investment Group, where they look into large-scale distressed asset purchases and innovative syndications. Nic has 2 decades in the business. He is an expert in investing, capital raising, specializing in real estate and debt market. Nic, welcome to the show.
Jonathan, great to connect with you today. Great catching up with you beforehand, and look forward to diving in.
Yeah, just for the listeners, we are currently in happy hour because it's a Friday at 5 when we're recording. You'll listen to it on either a Monday or Thursday, but Nic and I are bringing it in late on a Friday to get you this information. Let's get started with your background. When was the first time that you remember being interested in real estate?
Yeah, so this is an amazing question because there's so many different answers that I hear from people that were mentors to me that I'm interested in learning about. For me, it was very early on for one reason. And it was that I had the blessing to see, I wanted to see the highest leverage of my time very early on. And I saw successful people. I read crazy statistics. I've been a lifelong reader and a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
And almost unanimously, you see super successful people put their money into investments that as time increases, the investment gets more value. Simple as that, time is now your ally in investing, and real estate, as far as I'm concerned, as far as many are concerned, is the number one way to do that. So very early on, I was like, hey, I have no issue with hard work. I really like it. I like entrepreneurial endeavors. I like starting businesses. We've built and sold a number of them. The question is, so what? You've made the money. What do you do with that? So I want to say, even from being a kid, I knew that real estate was where I wanted to be. And over time, that's only been more solidified, not less. I started working in construction. That was my big foray into the workforce. And that was not for me. And, I was very young, but 11-hour days, my summer spent 11-hour days building
In the heat,
retaining walls was not my perfect summer spent. So I did banking for a very short period of time and then said, oh man, banking's great. And I really like the debt side. But I really like with, actual asset backing these debt instruments. So real estate was immediately where my heart went, where my mind went, and then merging those two with what we do now. I mean, it feels like home.
Yeah, I think there's something different than traditional financial markets to real estate. It's because real estate's tangible. You can go see it. You worked on it as your first job, realizing, well, I don't really want to do, this part, but it's cool to know in the end that when you finish that, that's going to be worth more than when it was just dirt. Did you see that like trajectory coming? Like, wow, okay, this is hands-on instead of stocks, which I was interested at young too, but like I can't get anything from them. It's just magic happens and I make money or I lose money.
Yeah. And so exactly to your point, the way that I saw it I was very young at the time. I was building walls over the summers. I was probably, 12, 13, 14, like the first few years of my workforce. What I saw was this, simply put, it's almost exactly what you said. I had a small amount of money because I was making dirt and I was like, I was up to my eyeballs in mud every day and all that stuff. Wasn't making good money at that time, but I had the small amount of money that I walked home with at the end. I could either put that in stocks where there's a whole bunch of people that I don't know making decisions in a room that I'm not invited to. Right.
Yeah.
And hopefully that goes well, fingers crossed. By the way, 2008 would come up later on and we'd learn a lot about a lot of different things. Right. The other side is I could take that same amount of money and put it into something that was tangible. Again, I was building retaining walls for homes at a very young age. I saw people's houses before and after, or commercial properties before and after, and adding square footage. I would just pick up on small pieces of that at a young age. But it was very clear, if you double the lot size of a property, we worked on a Volkswagen dealership in Southern California. We essentially doubled the lot size. Right.
Yeah.
So if you can double how many cars are on the lot and you can double inventory and double your potential for sales, what does that equal for the value of the owner of that piece of property or that business? Those were obvious things to me, just being like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Somebody had to pay these big dollars for this retaining wall. So pretty much I didn't want to bet on people that I didn't know making decisions for my money that I didn't trust, because I didn't have a lot of it.
Yeah, right.
Like, I got to shoot straight with, and
Yeah.
real estate made a lot more sense.
One thing that you weren't interested in that end, because is that part of what you're also interested in commercial versus residential? Commercial tenants are much different than residential tenants. For anyone who doesn't know, you're working with businesses and you're not working with people and their homes, which is a big difference in terms of management.
It's night and day. So on our side, just to full transparency, I think the residential market in the US from a market economic standpoint is the most rock solid economic piece of the US economy, period.
Wow.
It is so solid. And I think we have probably, I don't know, a little less than 2 decades of strength ahead of us, especially the baby boomers, so much money, of the wealthiest and largest generation we've ever had.
Yeah.
That said, to your point, it's a whole different class of tenancy and needs and servicing of those clients. We have for our income fund, which is 100% passive. That's what we leaned all the way into. We have whatever, I don't know, 500 mortgages in that fund now. The purpose of that fund is a stabilized long-term passive investment, right?
Yeah.
So that's one side of the portfolio. Historically, when we were leaning into commercial so heavily, it was because we were doing primarily large scale industrial, 50, 100, 150,000 square foot buildings. We were dealing with triple net international credit tenants.
So for somebody new to investing, but they have money, they're busy, they come to you and they say, I'm interested in syndications. What's one piece of advice that you would give them to get started the right way and make sure they don't fall into, something on TikTok that looks really good?
I would say getting some repetitions under their belt of reading deal points, like
That's
reading
great.
actual details, right? Our team uses a few phrases constantly. One of them is put the cleats on. And it's the idea of, look, nobody's saying you got to go play, major leagues right now, but put your damn cleats on, right?
Yeah.
Put your cleats on and be ready for the game. So I'd tell them to start looking, start asking questions. We post many syndicators. You'll see like it's all these different things on a website burying investors, but they never actually get on the phone with people.
Yeah.
Paste our number everywhere. It's like, call our team, ask questions, right? Because at the end of the day, for new investors, the best thing that they can do is start getting, being encircled by all these things that they want to be around, because you don't even know what's good or bad until you're around it.
Right? Yeah, I agree. You use the word reps, and I always use that because I think of Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point, 10,000 hours, and those are all reps. And it's like, yeah, how are you going to know what to invest in if you're just looking at social media? Like, that's not going to help you. And also, I think people jump the gun too soon. If you're brand new and you have, $20,000 and that's all your money, like, you're not ready for a syndication. Watch some videos. You probably will find someone eventually who will have a call to give you some education, but there's a lot of education you can get out there yourself. That doesn't say you have to dump the money into the bucket yet.
And the other one, because it's exactly that. The other advice I'd have is the people you hang around with is one of the most valuable, important things, especially in the real estate world.
Absolutely.
And many amazing real estate books are out there. There's 20,000 times as much valuable information from individuals that have experience that you can't put in a book.